I'll go over the agenda. Today we're going to have an intro from Mike Kellikini, and then the PGV update will be from Jordan Hara. Jennifer Myers will give us a County of Hawaii update. We will have a question and answer session at the end of the presentation. And we have our dates for the 2024 meetings. And that's posted up here. It'll also be posted on the website. It's January 23rd, which is they're all the fourth Tuesday of the month in January, April, July, and October. Our meeting guidelines, the project updates will be presented first. A Q&A will follow. Please hold your questions until the end of the presentation. We have received questions in advance, and we will be answering those as the best that we can. During the Q&A portion, we'll also take live questions at that time. The session is being recorded so that people who are unable to attend will be able to view the meeting afterwards. The recording will be posted to the PGV website, www.punageothermalproject.com. Meeting code of conduct. Please give the presenters the courtesy to speak uninterrupted. There will be plenty of time at the end to ask questions. During the Q&A, we'll switch between questions asked live and questions received in advance. Once everyone has had the opportunity to ask the question, additional questions may be allowed. Be respectful. Disruptive behavior that disturbs the orderly conduct of the meeting will not be tolerated. Any behavior that threatens the safety of another person will not be tolerated. Abusive language will not be tolerated. And failure to comply with this code of conduct may result in removal from the meeting. We thank you all in advance for your cooperation and participation. As a reminder, you can submit questions in advance through the website, and you can always call if you have questions or concerns, the toll-free response line, which is 808-369-9094. Now I will turn it over to Mike for opening remarks.
Thank you, Dana. Welcome, everyone. This is our fourth quarterly meeting for 2023, and we're happy that you guys took the time out to come out here. It's holiday season, Thanksgiving is around the corner, Christmas, New Year's, so we actually have some good information to share, and looking forward to hearing from Jordan and Jen. So I'll turn over to Jordan to give us a background.
Good evening. Thank you for coming out. For the plant update, project is ongoing. We were able to complete our last production well, KS22, and we're really successful. We had a lot of good production from that well. It brought us up from about 12, 13 megawatts to now we average about 35 megawatts. So we're pretty close to almost full capacity. So really good production well, helped us out a lot. So we're doing well with that. We're running all the OECs available and continuing to just run as efficiently as we can and provide power for the Big Island. Other than that, you know, we wrapped up pretty much our drill rig. We're mothballing that up for a little while and taking a break on drilling. We're looking at potentially doing some work on some of the other existing wells, though. One in particular is the injection well that we did complete that we may want to do some work on. We're looking at maybe December on that, but that would be with a small drill rig, and then potentially maybe another workover on another well, but we haven't decided yet. Right now we're kind of sitting back and seeing how this well does and continue on making the power we are right now. So really good progress we've made in the last few months. Everybody's hard work and community support made it all possible. It's been a long struggle to get back on our feet where we are today. So thank you for that. That's about it.
Thanks, Jordan.
be likely in February of next year. We're going to take some time, a little bit of a break during the holidays, because we know folks are going to be with family or off island. But it was a huge success. We did updates on Koiki, the boat ramp, and also our big update now is that the final EA was approved by FEMA for our roads and water line project, which will allow us to now break ground on Koiki Road at 137, Four Corners. That should come Q1 of next year. For those of you who filed during our comment period for that environmental assessment, I know this sounds really boring, but we asked for public feedback, and the public feedback was that folks wanted more time to work on an environmental plan for the Iwi Kupuna and the places near Kumakahi that require more sensitivity, and people wanted more time to work on a project that would help protect that area. So we listened, and we moved Lighthouse Road from the first portion of our construction project. We're now doing that as the last portion of our construction project, which means there will be a little over a year extra time for folks to come together with a protection plan. That protection plan won't be through the county, that has to be through residents and folks, so that'll buy them more than a year's time to come up with a plan that will help protect these sensitive and very sacred areas near Kumakahi. So that's great news. So again, breaking ground on Koiki Road Q1 of next year, which is a huge win for us. As you guys know, it was a real struggle to get to where we needed to go with FEMA, but we're finally there. So happy about that. Revitalize Puna again should be next February, so keep an eye on that. We'll be on our social medias, Kilauea Recovery on everything. For those of you who don't follow us, just search Kilauea Recovery, it pops right up. We'll be doing updates there. And then the voluntary housing buyout program. We hit a little bit of a snag here for the past couple months because we've been dealing with some extra regulatory things that we needed to take care of. We've since made some progress on that, and we'll be doing some more closings that will lead us to the 300th closing here coming up soon. So we're excited about that, and we'll be sharing when that happens on social media. Thank you.
So we're going to move on to the Q&A portion of the meeting. Please be polite, no vulgar language or name calling, or you will be asked to leave. No yelling, or you will be asked to leave. 2 minutes max for any questions or statements. We will try to give everyone time to say their piece, and if we have time, you can come back and add more. We'll take 1 question per person until everyone has had a chance to ask. Questions submitted before the meeting will be read at this time. With 1 exception, we did receive a few questions within an hour of the meeting starting. So Mike was going to address that.
Okay. Thank you, Dana. Yeah, so I'll start with the emails that I received in a chronological order. So Corey sent a few questions ahead of the meeting. So she's asking, as PGV puts in new generation equipment, will there be downtime during the installation? And if so, what is the estimated amount of time? So I'm thinking she's talking about the new equipment as associated with what's going on at the PUC for the repowering, which is going to be 2 years down the road if the PUC approves it. But when the new equipment is installed, there will be a period of 1 to 2 weeks where we transition from the old equipment to the new equipment. So yes, to her question, there will be a downtime of 1 to 2 weeks. The next question that Corey had, will PGV wait for the amended and restated power purchase agreement to receive final approval before proceeding on installation of the new equipment? And again, yes, PGV will wait for the decision because the PUC can still deny or say no to the proposal that's at the PUC. But we will wait before we proceed to our next steps. And Paul sent in some questions, so we'll get to Paul. So Corey only had those 2 for now. So Paul, I think Jordan, on your first question, no, Jordan didn't answer this. When do you expect the completion of the EIS? Some of these questions overlap others that submitted questions, but when do we expect the completion of the EIS? We anticipated, we're hoping that we're targeting the end of this year, so by the end of December. When you submit these documents, there's usually 2 times during the month that you can do it. There's one around December 8th and one in December 23rd or so. So we want to target December. Okay, Paul, you talked about, you asked about the Hawaii County lighting, outdoor lighting, and you passed by our entrance and there was some bright lights. So yeah, so we do comply with the county code for lighting. And Ron was nice to print out the code for you. And you can look at it too, but, so in the case of the one right there at the entrance, we've been experiencing some folks coming up in the middle of the night, walking to the security gate. And from time to time, we also have women there as a security post. And so this lighting has been provided to help see people coming. So if she does, or he, or whoever's there, can always call the control room and come in. But part of it is that for public safety, we can have an exemption from the yellow lights. And for now, that's what's happening. But we definitely are looking at improving it. That's the one that's obvious, right? We passed by.
And it's also not shielded.
And we'll shield it from the lava across the street. But Greg West is there, and the cars that pass by.
No, I'm talking about the shielding from the sky.
Okay.
Yeah, because you know, I live on Kaya,
You can see lights going on.
it
That is
looks
a
like
simple
the
one.
Emerald City, you know, which interferes with the ability to see.
We can definitely shield it on the top.
And are the ones at the plant shielded?
Yes. Yeah, we have shielding on the sodium lights throughout the plant.
And the other ones are sodium or not?
Yeah, they're the low sodium, the yellow ones that have their color. Okay, Paul, 1 second. So, Jordan actually answered this, KS22. So KS22 is actually doing really well. So the combination of KS22 and the previous wells that were drilled, that's why we're able to do 35. I think we were as high as 36 that day.
Yeah.
So right now, the geothermal resource is looking really strong. And so it's a matter of us just maintaining our equipment to generate electricity. 22 has been very helpful. And that's why I think Jordan mentioned we're not planning to do drilling any new wells immediately. But there are some wells that require workovers. So that's what we're considering. So it won't be, long periods of workover compared to like drilling new wells. Okay. So Paul's asking how many production and how many reinjection. We have 6 and 6. Not all of them are being used at the same time. We actually have some on standby. We have some that we use for monitoring, and we rotate them. We allow them to, we just use our procedures, our operation procedures to go through different wells. And part of the new wells, and like Jordan alluded to, where we're monitoring, we do have different flow rates, so we can see how it reacts. This should see the stability, the long-term assessment. Okay, so that was your next question about being used. So you're asking about how many gallons of injectate a day. So we've been averaging about 3,000 gallons per minute. And this is 3,000 gallons that's coming up from the production resource. So in that 3,000 gallons average, we utilize that heat to generate electricity. That 3,000 gallons gets cooled off and goes back to reinjection. So everything that comes up is what's going back. It equates to a little over 4 million gallons per day, making up 3,200 times 60 times 24. Okay. That was your last question, Paul, unless you guys have, okay. We received several questions from Jasmine Steiner online ahead of the meeting, and I can go through them so we can have it on record.
She'll be here later if you want to wait on her till she gets here, or you want to do them now?
No, if she'll be here, then we can.
She's in traffic.
Right. Yeah, we can wait this way. So then, the only other questions we received online was from Sarah and from Ben.
You didn't get any from Larry? But I made him graphs. I think he wants to ask you something
You
anyway.
can ask me. So, anyhow, Ben's is very highly technical.
Mhm.
I don't know if you guys got a chance to see
I
it.
just looked and I saw you're going to respond to him.
Okay, good. We're gonna need some help.
But do you put that response, like, he must not have uploaded it to your website. He must have just sent it in the
He
email thread.
actually sent it to our website also.
Oh, okay.
So he sent it to me and to our
Do you guys
website.
answer those online, or you don't? post
So
answers?
I'll answer them on, we'll get the expertise to help us respond. And even if it's before the next meeting or during the next meeting, we'll make sure we get it so it's on record. But the one thing you did ask for Larry is the layup recirculation procedure, Larry. So we were looking for it, and we couldn't specifically find it in the emergency response plan, but we did find a section that is a response to a magma intrusion or an eruption in the area. So it's from
Yeah,
the,
that's what I'm talking about.
okay, I have a copy for you.
Oh,
Because the ERP, the emergency response plan, is located on our website, and anyone can open it up and look at it, but it is a large document, so we printed out a copy for you.
Is that the
oh,
one
I'm
where-
not interested in a copy of that document.
We have,
I'm interested in an explanation of what the layup recirculation plan is.
So that's where we have a disconnect. So our procedure doesn't reference the layup recirculation plan, but I'd be happy to talk with you for you to explain in more detail what exactly do you mean by a layup recirculation plan. How's that? We can talk.
Okay?
Okay.
I mean, because, you know, layup, I had to look this up, but
Okay.
I mean, it's more used like in industrial, like heaters and boilers.
Okay, we do layups for like equipment that's going to stay offline for extended
Yeah.
periods of time. We do layups. So are you
Right.
referring to like when a geothermal well is laid up for an extended period of time?
Well, I just, you know, that got me thinking, okay, and the way it's listed in the EIS is as layup / recirculation.
Okay. So let's talk further on that then. Okay, I
You
can
mean
give
some
you-
other time?
Yeah, tomorrow, the next day.
Mhm.
we can-
Okay, well-
Not, we won't wait forever.
But, yeah, I'm just wondering, because when the eruption was happening in 2018,
Yeah,
you pumped enough water in those wells to fill them 20 times.
okay.
There's no way you could lay up those wells.
Okay.
They would not hold the water. And it was when the wellhead pressure was already at 1200 PSI,
Right,
and the temperatures
So-
were 200 degrees higher than their normal.
yeah. I know, so I understand what you're saying now. And
And,
remember when,
and all of a sudden, by some coincidence, there were 25 earthquakes right directly underneath the plant while you were doing that.
okay,
And that is still part of the emergency response plan.
let me give a sentence here and then we'll talk more later. But when you guys visited, remember I mentioned in the geothermal industry, if you need to perform maintenance on a well that has pressure, you have to remove that pressure. Okay? So in the example you shared, 1200 PSI, 200 degrees higher. There's no way we could perform maintenance with that pressure on there because it would be unsafe for the workers to open up valves, etc. So we cool off the well, get the pressure down to 0, and that's the quenching, that's the amount of water we put into the well, and that allows our workers to open up a valve and insert the plugs. Or open up a valve, and if we need to pump down cement or sand or water. But we'll talk some more.
That should happen right away. As soon as the lava comes, you should do that right away. You don't wait for a week and then start putting water in the 2,000-degree lava.
I'll give you a copy of our procedure. Okay.
So I mean, a little bit on that, about the earthquakes, so before anything happened at the plant, I mean, there were earthquakes every like 5 or 10 minutes before lava even broke out of surface. And the plant was running, you know, in normal conditions, no wells were wrapped up or anything. We were in fact CD in that morning, was it about 2 days, 1 or 2 days before it erupted in Leilani. And they showed the trends. I mean, the earthquakes were like nonstop.
They were, but they weren't under your plant. They were further up the rift zone. As
They
the
were
lava
up the
came
plant.
down, the earthquakes happened and they
Well,
stopped.
as the lava breaks through, I mean, yeah, you're gonna get more increase as it gets
Right.
closer, but, I mean, it was at the plant the
It
whole time.
was, and then you
Yeah.
guys, and then it stopped, and then you guys started putting water in. And then the earthquake
Wait,
shifted to
wow.
the other side of that.
Well, the whole lava
They-
went around us this way, then the lava went around
Well,
this way.
because you're on a hill.
Anyway,
With the fissures, you know, I mean, they were breaking out consistently next to us.
I know, because you were pumping water.
we pumped water for 30 years, Sarah. Okay.
Right.
The
but when
magma
lava
decided to
comes-
migrate from the volcano down the rift zone this time.
So what about all the other lava events that happened in the area in the last 100 years?
What?
We weren't even here.
Yes.
So how did all of that happen? Naturally.
Right, it happened naturally, but then this one happened after you guys were drilling for 30 years. You were causing fractures in the
natural
same
event
space
also.
for 30 years. You weakened the rift zone, and the lava came out, and then you put water in to help blow it up.
We can
Okay.
agree to disagree on that.
Well, right.
Yeah, no, we appreciate your input.
Mm,
Let's go to Sarah's questions.
Thank you.
Thank goodness you didn't have 25 like Ben.
I had a lot more, and they were meaner, and so I tried to take out the snarky stuff so I could just stick to the facts, because I am kind of
You're
disgusted.
trying to be mean to us, huh?
No, I don't want to be, sorry.
All right. So, this one was answered. You're asking about the
The
EIS.
EIS, yeah.
So, we're targeting December. And so, your second question is about the pipe that we had the little bubble
Yes.
on. So we have the abatement material on there, and we're gearing up to do it the next time we shut down that area.
Nice.
So we still got the abatement material there.
Yeah, but it stinks. It stunk there. You don't smell it because you get used to it. It's in all the hydrogen sulfide manuals. You get used to the smell.
I just thought you were smelling me because I was right next to you in the car.
No,
Okay.
I think it affected your kitty too, because she wouldn't even pay attention.
Our
to
kitty loves us.
you. The kitty was ignoring you.
Well, okay. Let's leave the kitty out of
Yeah,
this.
yeah, all right.
Okay. Number 3, so Sarah speaks to our draft EIS and using much of the same pipe that we have on the plant in different locations. How does that work when the pipes are already corroded and leaking, built heading to the apartment? So we do pretty in-depth, extensive X-rays and ultrasonic thickness testing. It's all industry standard. We don't want any leaks. We don't want any failures. So anything that doesn't meet our safety standards and operational standards, we're changing it out.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna change them out.
Because it says you're going to use all this pipe, but all the pipe's going over there, and you're going to build over there or something, so you're going
No,
to...
and we're looking at replacing a lot. Yeah,
Good,
for
yeah,
sure.
that's
I mean,
good.
it's old piping. I mean, definitely, on my perspective,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
we want to
I
replace it as
was
much as possible.
pretty amazed, but
For sure.
Listen, I was amazed that you guys came to visit. Thank you.
I was amazed we didn't pass out.
First time in 30
And I forgot, I mean, I know Paul wants to come back too, so we'll set up another one.
Actually, yeah, we have a few other people.
Okay, okay, Sarah and the seismic data.
Yes.
So why does PGB consider the seismic data proprietary? From PGB's perspective, or MS perspective, we use the seismic data for targeting the geothermal resource. So where there's movement and micro earthquakes occurring, that tells our geologists, our scientists, that that is a likely point that a resource is, because the three key elements for successful geothermal is heat, we get that from the volcano, water, which is mostly the seawater that percolates through the island, some rain, right, and permeability, or the ability for these heated fluids to move. So when we do the seismic monitoring, we're watching where this fluid is moving, so we can target those locations or consider those locations as a target for geothermal production and injection.
Right, but it's showing the earthquakes that you're making, right? And that's why we need to see it. That's why other geothermal plants are tied to the USGS monitors. I think that's like my next question.
Your next question is about the secret seismic data in Nevada.
Yes,
I
yeah.
am not aware of any of it.
Well, you said that you don't keep the data here. You said it's in Nevada is where they keep your proprietary data.
So we have, it's online, so they monitor everything.
Why can't we see it?
I just mentioned why. It's proprietary information for targeting.
Other geothermal plants have to share their data.
There's no possible competition in this situation.
Okay.
So why would you want to keep it secret
But all the
unless you're
USGS
afraid of people seeing what's really happening?
Yeah.
The USGS has all of their stuff available though, still.
They
But
don't
there's
report
no
nothing. There's
seismometers
nothing.
anywhere near.
Very true. Okay. I'll continue to work with RMAT on trying to see what kind of data we can share, if anything. So now, like I said, we definitely would consider sharing with USGS because they're the experts.
Yeah, you should just hook in with them so we can see it all.
Okay.
Their
So
stuff is too low
I thought they
resolution.
had some stuff down.
they had a few, but it's not working properly. So
They
took
can't
the
record
recovery.
anything under a magnitude 2 earthquake around here. Because there's not enough seismometers. You need a network, and we are beyond the edge of the network.
okay.
And except for PGBs, which they want to keep a secret.
So it sounds to me, I haven't spoken with the USGS folks in a long time, but it sounds to me like they're monitoring closer to the volcano, probably the source.
Yeah, they have
of
hundreds up
eruption.
there, and not a single one here.
Yeah, they took recovery money from Kilauea like everybody does, and they put stuff on the Great Crack to monitor that.
Uh-huh.
Instead
There are
of, then they build a
literally
new
hundreds
office
of
in
them
Hilo,
over there.
but they don't monitor down where you guys are.
Okay. Does PGB use a traffic light system to regulate the amount of earthquakes? Okay, I think we discussed that.
Do you?
We don't, I don't know, we don't have traffic
You
lights.
don't have traffic.
Yeah.
Just checking.
We have low sodium yellow lights, except for the one at the security shed, it's white.
No, the traffic light system is hooked up, it's on the end of each well, and it tells what the pressure is, and if it's starting to propagate an earthquake, you gotta turn down the well.
Oh, okay. No,
Because you're
no,
starting to propagate earthquakes.
we don't have that.
Okay, so you guys just don't even know if you're doing it or not, because you don't
We don't
look
do
at
it.
it. It's in Nevada.
We don't do the traffic light system. Okay, so we talked about why the seismic data is not available. We'll tie it into USGS. Okay, here's a good new question. Where in PGV's 2023 emergency response plan does it call for cooling the resource and quenching the wells when lava is approaching under the plant? So that's the procedure I mentioned.
It's not, that's not. In the newspaper, you guys talked, it was cooling the resource. You cooled the resource until
Quenching, when
the
pressure
big
goes
wigs
away.
got there, until then you started quenching the well.
Yeah, but your question is where in the emergency
Yeah,
response
where
plan
is
does it? So I got that page for you.
Well, was it this, you're saying it's layup recirculation?
No, it's not.
Cooling?
That's Larry's term. We did not use that term.
Oh, okay, what page is it?
I don't remember all the pages, Sarah. But I can tell you, it's section 8.1.2.
Okay, there's no
But the
page.
title says magma intrusion
Uh-huh,
in the emergency response plan,
okay.
which is online on our website.
All right, yeah, I know, I have it on my computer. And it says cool the resource and quench wells.
Listen, I really want to
Read
read.
it. Read me the thing, or let me.
Okay. Listen to this. Magma intrusion in the immediate vicinity of the site, within half a mile, could result in a well or on the property acting as a conduit for lava to flow. Were this to occur, a lava flow through the well to surface, the hazard would be similar to the discussion in the previous section. So here's the response that we have in section 8. Upon notification or determination, and this means from Civil Defense or USGS, which is what happened in 2018, right? They had the meetings every morning, and they'd be on the radio, on the phones with Jordan, letting the plant know, hey, this is what we're seeing. We're going to have eruption any time now, etc. But upon that notification, we are in our procedure to do the following actions. Make sure we have available personnel and equipment. Notify Civil Defense should the magma intrusion cause a facility emergency that could threaten public health and safety. Notify State Department of Land and Natural Resource and Hawaii County Planning Department regarding the status of the wells. And then monitor the geothermal fluid pH.
Yes.
Because when the magma is flowing down, the pH will tend to increase because it's, decrease. Yeah, because it's very acidic.
Okay.
Okay, so it says to shut in the wells, and then it says to inject water into the well within 48 hours of shut-in,
Right.
so that you can decrease or decline the pressure. That's what we're talking about. In order to be able to work, you
It
gotta take
says
water.
put in a little bit of water to decrease the pressure. That doesn't
Says-
say anything about cooling your resource, your geothermal resource underground.
That's exactly what it's doing.
Yeah, well, it's,
It's causing
in the scheme of-
explosions when it's 2,000 degrees and you put in cold water, it's
I know,
blowing
but
it
this is,
up.
sorry, in the scheme of things, there's billions and billions of hot water down there. And we were like trickling down like a couple of droplets.
We saw with the relocated earthquakes what your little
That
trickles
turned
did.
into 8,000 times their volume.
So
Yes.
we also need to notify everybody else, but that's 8.1.2. You can go confirm it. So that's the online questions. We'd be happy to go around in the audience with any other questions. Yes, sir.
Ron Kendall, Atlanta Estates.
How you doing, Ron or Rod?
Ron, we're concerned about the noise level, and we hear you're going to do some dampening equipment or move things around. Can you
Yes.
state that?
So,
Well, as we speak with the drilling side,
we're done with drilling, so
so that is.
that should help out on whatever noise
The
is
drilling for this year.
this year.
And
For now.
so we're looking at, were you here from the beginning? Earlier I said, we're looking at possibly doing some work on one of our injection wells with a small rig, and that might happen in December. After that, we may do a workover, but for the main drilling, with the large rig, we don't anticipate any big items for actually 24 right now as we speak.
For 24?
Yes, for 2024.
2024.
Yeah,
No new wells, 24.
Right.
yeah. We don't anticipate any at this time.
So, did we talk last time, Rod? Are you the president of Leilani? I mean,
I'm the director.
director. Yeah, so if, if you guys are interested, we'd be happy to come by. I know you guys have like, meetings from time to time. We'd be happy to give updates to the association and the others that might be there who can't make it.
That's a great reach on the agenda.
Okay.
You mentioned you were having some of these people come.
Visit?
Yeah, I'd like to visit with my information.
Okay.
Thank you.
I have a follow-up on the noise. So, we appreciate it when the drilling stopped, but now that you're increasing production, we're hearing a lot more noise.
So, not necessarily because the equipment that we're running, whether it's at maximum capacity or whether it's at 80% or 70%, the same equipment is running.
Same thing.
Same fans, it's just the amount of heat that's flowing through the equipment is higher.
So one thing too,
The well field is not that noisy, right, Sarah?
No, it's not the well field, it's probably, I'm thinking cooling fan.
The cooling fans are probably the largest source because we have many of them.
It makes a difference definitely on the wind direction too.
Yeah,
And so-
we see that. But does it increase with production, the cooling fan?
No,
I mean, right now,
I mean, equipment-wise,
The last, we were running the majority of the
Since
equipment
September.
earlier in the year too, but then we kind of started going downhill and then now we're back up again.
the one other thing that we did commit to is that once we're back to full capacity or near there, we do a follow-up noise assessment. So we do that on a regular basis. We did it before the plant got started up. We did it when the plant was running. We did it before drilling, when drilling. And so now, there's no drilling and it's just normal plant operations we're gonna do.
Okay, I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah.
We have military people that live in our community, and one of them was ex-Navy. He was thinking that your fans are out of balance from sound.
Oh, okay.
Doesn't mean anything to me, but he picks it up because that's what he used to do.
No, it could be. You know, our folks check we do vibration monitoring because that gives us an idea about, out of balance, bearings, et cetera, et cetera. But we know, I mean, our guys are there 24/7. When they hear something that's not normal, so they investigate and figure out what's
I wanted to ask about the sound because you said you
Are
know.
you ready,
that-
Ron?
I'm done. Thank you.
Go ahead,
Just,
Sarah.
no, in the EIS, you just said you were gonna do another sound measurement, but.
We do it on a regular basis, yeah.
Okay, but then what does controlling for keys mean? Because,
Koki,
yes.
The
because-
frog.
Yeah,
I don't know, I mean,
right, so then you're controlling for Koki and then you have no noise measurement. It's like you don't show up down there because you
our
controlled for
physical
Koki and
engineer-
then it doesn't show up.
there are folks that are well-trained and smart that can, like, pick out the Koki noise when they do the noise assessments. But
Yeah, in fact,
we,
with the Kokies, it's way louder. It would be.
yeah, we haven't considered a plan of doing something with the Kokis, so.
No, you don't have to do something with your Kokies. I'm just wondering because it's like your sound does showing really low on the meters because you control for Kokies. But if you didn't control for the Kokies, you might hear the plant is pretty loud too.
The noise equipment at the stations don't take into account any of that. It captures everything regardless. We
The
don't,
stations, including Kokies. that's
we don't
what
filter out the Koki noise. What's there
They
is.
said that in the EIS. So I didn't know.
Oh, yeah, I mean, if the EIS said that, it could be mistaken. So,
Yeah, if you wanna see what, for instance, if wind is blowing, if there's traffic noise, and you wanna find out how much noise is being generated by a specific piece of equipment, you can target specific frequencies. Take those out so that you're getting an accurate assessment of the equipment. I mean, the technology's evolved to the point now where you can take recordings, say, of the Beatles, and you could eliminate all the voices and have perfect music all by itself. So I think there's a purpose to be able to really target a specific type of sound from a specific source versus everything being lumped together.
Well,
And
everybody
that's
says it's
why
louder
we use
because it's all
the
loud.
acoustic engineer who would probably
Right.
have that
It has
technology.
that capability,
I
yeah.
did have a question which really goes back to the very beginning, where you were doing some of the online questions, which has to do with the sequence of events that has to do with the approval of the ARPDA. And so now that you're able to achieve essentially the contractual amount of production that you had prior to 2018, what's the process for the PUC determining that and approving the ARPDA?
Okay, good question. So the ARPPA was actually approved in March 2022.
Okay,
with one main condition for PGB, which was to perform an environmental review.
okay,
So we, PGB, opted to do the EIS, and that's what we're in the process of finalizing.
okay.
Along that line, we submitted 2 amendments to the ARPPA. The first one was a price increase from 10 cents a kilowatt hour levelized cost to 13 cents, because from the time we submitted it in December of 2019 to 2022, we experienced the COVID, the supply chain, we're all paying much higher costs and whatnot. So that's why we went in with that first amendment. During that same time, and if you guys recall our last community meeting, I don't know what our output was at, 15 megawatts or so.
17, because the tool had fallen in.
Okay, 17 because of the tool. Thank you, Sarah. So because of the challenges we were experiencing, 22 wasn't completed yet. We went for we submitted a second amendment, which would allow PGP to declare a commercial operation at 30 megawatts and allow us to continue working on the facility until we can reach 46. Right? So what we have shared is that the new equipment is 20% more efficient. So what that means is at 25 megawatts today, the new equipment can do 30 megawatts. It's 1.2 times 25. Now, we wanted to have that flexibility so that we can get that approval through the PUC, and then we can get our folks to give the green light to start manufacturing, to start procurement, of all the other equipment. And in the meantime, assess how the well field is performing. Well, like Jordan explained, we're fortunate that the well field is doing well. Okay, so but it needs to be sustainable, right? So we got to watch it. So I think that if we can do, so the second amendment is going through the PUC process, and we're hoping that a decision will be rendered before the end of this year. I think there's a good possibility, and the reason why I say is we've been through these steps, and what happens is when you have a docket that's submitted to the PUC, HELCO and the consumer advocate sets this procedural schedule. So what happens usually is there are questions to HELCO, there's questions to us as the facility, you go back and forth, and then there's this somewhat sub-final step, which is called a statement of position. And that statement of position is dated for the end of November for consumer advocate and and PGB if we want to submit a statement of position. And then the final step would be if HELCO wanted to submit their statement of position.
Are the time intervals for each step in the process, are those set by statute?
They're set by an agreement between the consumer advocate and the utility.
Okay, and the consumer advocate is part of the PUC, but in
They're separate.
Okay.
The PUC regulates,
Who
the
does
utilities.
the consumer advocate
The
work
consumer, they work for us consumers. They look out for consumers.
for? So they work for the state?
They work for the state,
Okay.
for the people, to make sure that whatever project is being considered is fair and reasonable.
And the people who actually staff that are qualified to make these decisions? I mean, are they experienced?
A lot of them are ex-utility.
Okay,
A lot of them have legal backgrounds, have been on the PUC commission, or work for Hawaiian Electric. So yeah, these folks have experience.
good.
Yeah.
Okay.
But back to, sir, you're around sound too, so with the military guys saying unbalanced or whatnot, no, there's definitely, so us at the plant, for efficiency wise, if you have a noisy fan, we're inefficient. One is either we got bearings, right, bearings, you could area that where, and then now you're getting close to a failure on the bearings, or 2 fan belts, squealing fan belts, right? And a lot of times when we get weather like this is when we find some of these issues, when it's not tight enough, there's slippage or whatnot, or we get bearing issues. And we put that as a priority, because also it's revenue, because they're not running efficient. So not only the sound, but that's what I'm saying, is we adamantly try to mitigate that sound because that sound means we're not running as efficient as we can be. So we definitely do take it seriously on that, not only for the sound, but also because it'll be not as efficient.
We have a couple of ex-Navy guys out there. Yes, Larry.
Okay, well, we were just talking about megawatts, how much the plant's putting up. I made some graphs on this recently. I guess maybe I'll go stand up here. This map graph shows PGV's actual power output since the beginning in 1993. This is the old HGPA. That's what that was putting out. But then starting in 93 is when PGV started up and quickly ramped up to 25 megawatts and has been stuck there ever since. In spite of drilling, 30 different wells. And so the actual sustainable production of PGV, even though it's not really sustainable, these black lines are the rated capacity of the plant, starting at 25 in 93, jumping up to 30 in 96, and then up to 38 in 2012. As you can see, maybe, I think you could make a case that PGV has never made its quota. And that's over 30 years now. And this is touted as our energy salvation. And so maybe you're thinking, well, maybe things have gotten better since the eruption. This is, those other numbers were yearly. These are daily numbers since the plant started back up near the end of 2020. And as you can see, the last year or so, it's been pretty rough with, many, big dips and not much, barely able. Once again, we're at 25 here. I'm saying that is the maximum sustainable output that PGV can achieve. And yet it's touted as 38 now, 46 later, in a few years, and 60. It's not going to happen.
Okay.
There's one other thing I want to point out here, is that notice how about every 6 months or so, there is a drastic reduction.
We have semi-annual outages too.
Yeah, we shut the plant down.
Well,
So
I mean,
annually, we take the plant down for a week and do all our repairs, and then 6 months from then, we take a couple of units down to do work on that too.
yeah, well, I realize that's what this particular one is, and this particular one as well. Yes, those are
And then
their
the short
additives.
the short dips in between.
So
would be
these
better.
are planned,
Yeah.
but, and so you're up to 36, I just heard. That's the first time, since that it's gotten over 30, is the last month and a half.
Yeah, it's been a tough battle.
And you're right, it's been a struggle, and that's why I explained about the Second Amendment. We wanted the flexibility to declare at a lower output. So,
Well, yeah, you certainly need it, but
thank you.
I just think we should all realize that PGV is not contributing even half of what they claim to.
Okay, thank you.
And you'll be very lucky if they ever do.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Henry. Peter?
I was gonna ask what the conclusion was, that, I was supposed to know.
Well, I think Larry's just sharing some data, right?
Right.
And so Jordan is talking about how it dips, and then I just chimed in. That's why we went for the Second Amendment, because we were struggling, right? But now things are looking better. Now, to Larry's first graph, right, that shows that we weren't always at the top. And I've explained this to you, Larry, and Sarah, and Ben. on the island, the maximum load is about 200 megawatts. At night, when people go to sleep, it goes down to about 90. Right? Remember I mentioned that? So they don't keep us up at 38 all the time. They back us off, just like they back off everyone else. So there is that effect too. Granted, we weren't. Your graph looked nice, but you know.
Right, but your whole thing is how firm you are even at night when everybody else is
Yeah,
asleep.
that,
And
if you're not,
kind of
if they're not
throttled at night,
taking you, they're having to take
Well,
that
that's not
gas
our
to
control.
Yeah,
move.
no,
They're telling
it's
they're
the
telling
help,
by
it's the
help
utility.
is out of our control, but we're still available. If they have any issues, we can ramp up if need be during that time.
So anyway, yeah, appreciate your graphs. Okay.
Oh, Jasmine's here if you want to read her questions.
I sent you guys questions online.
Yes, you did, sir. I mean, I'm calling you my middle name.
Jasmine, her middle name.
Yeah. Hold on.
Sounds good.
Thanks for,
Thank you
showing up.
for actually being courageous and reading them.
Listen, we made it for you special so that we can read it.
Amazing.
Oh gosh, it was deleted. Just joking.
I have a question on
Yeah.
ramping up. Just why he's looking that up. You said, oh, we can ramp up. How does that mean, ramping up? What is that?
So
How
we're,
can you make that number higher?
so example, like let's say we're doing 30 megawatts, right, steady. And then at night, when the load is down and everybody turns off their lights, it's too much power for the grid. So Helco has controlling units that will lower the power output and govern the output. And we are a rare geothermal plant that works with Helco to be able to govern that. So in AGC control, they could actually bring our plant down to a lower output, let's say 27 megawatts. And they'll write it out until they need it, and normally 6 a.m. or so when everybody starts turning on lights is when it would ramp up to full capacity, is
So
what I meant.
have
ramp
they
up.
turned you down? Have they?
Yeah, in fact, even with our low power output right now of only 35, we were curtailed the other morning. So, I mean, it depends what they have availability on, and I mean, you gotta figure too, Helco has a big load that they have to have on standby, right? Because it almost doubles during the day. At night, it goes down to 90, and then peak day, maybe 200, but then they also have solar that kicks on that
Great
also lowers
questions,
everything too. And then, so they have to have all that standby power, which is very costly also to have available. And so they have to have that all in idle, right? Depending if boom, a cloud goes over, a storm comes in, wind slows down, water slows down because it's unreliable. So they have to have that fluctuation, and that's what we help control that grid for stability too.
So both solar and wind are regularly curtailed because their outputs during the day can well exceed consumption. Electricity is one of those things where what goes in and what goes out have to be balanced. And, it happens all the time where production exceeds what people want to consume. So it ends up either being shut down, the production ends up being shut down, or they literally ground the electricity, they just run it into the ground.
Okay. Okay, here's a first question for Jasmine.
Thank you.
When will you folks stop ignoring all reports of sick residents who call and email to complain? You can't find any of our reports, including my own begging you guys for a week in January when my daughter was H2S poisoned, diagnosed, and on breathing machine for days at urgent care. Still, to this day, not one single checkup. No one ever called me or checked on my baby, who is still getting sick at least multiple times a week. So we, at PGB, we value the concerns and complaints of all our community and nearby residents. Right? Our commitment to the community starts at the plant. Safety, environmental for our employees is saying number
Start
one.
with the people, though?
If we take care of the plant who is at ground zero, then it rolls out to everyone around us. If we are safe at the plant, that equates to the folks around us being safe.
But we're not. We're not safe.
We're safe at the plant.
We are not. The community is not. You guys are paid to not, be sick or whatever. Okay? We are sick.
So we partner up
This
both.
is like crazy.
Listen, whenever stuff happens at PGV, we always get DOH, excuse me, Civil Defense, the LNR, all of the agencies.
Those are all who I tried in January, a week straight. Every single one of you guys in the authorities, I was writing a week straight. Nobody ever came. The air was brown. The air, we could see it in the air, okay? Like the haze or whatever, like it was brown. Nobody, a week later, the only one single person that wrote me back was Hawaii EMA stating, oh, we forwarded your concerns to PGV. I hope your daughter's okay. I said, why would you do that? I've explained. PGV doesn't respond. They don't reply to me. Nobody came. Still to this day, not one checkup at my house. And we are getting sick a lot downwind. You guys have to monitor this shit. All those fissures in my lawn, my other question.
Yeah,
Who have you been emailing at PGV?
Back in January, the contacts you guys have for PGV on your,
talking about all the other agencies too.
and them, everybody,
Nobody's
everybody.
responded to her.
But to
Everybody.
PGV, but to PGV?
Yes, to
I-
PGV.
You
Yes.
contacted me and I
Yes.
responded, back
I never contacted you about that, no.
Oh,
At
wow.
the next meeting, you were saying, we always want you guys to tell us and I'll personally come there. And I said, well, please, personally come because nobody came last month when we were sick.
Okay.
So I'm still waiting for
Where are you
somebody
located
to
at?
come do a welfare check.
She lives on Poiki Road, right, by Bob's?
Yes.
Yeah.
That day you guys kicked me out was because my daughter is sick, yeah, so I'm passionate about this. When
Across
you told
from
me to leave,
Patty
yeah.
and Roger, that area.
Remember, I was born and raised like at a sunken-in base of this plant, so you guys can't it doesn't go over my head like most other people.
Yeah, I got you. So, Jasmine's next question.
Thank you.
Are you folks aware that a massive human rights health class action lawsuit is about to be out against you?
Mhm. Are you guys aware?
No.
There's so many people in the community that have signed up for class action,
Okay,
so we are hoping
Thank
to
you
go
for-
somewhere with that.
thank you for
You
that.
guys are not, you're
We're
not
not aware.
acknowledging anybody, and everybody is fighting for so long. I've watched my community for 35 years
Okay,
fight just to breathe back.
so whatever we need to do to address that, we will whenever we are
Yeah, when the
notified.
time comes. So I just didn't know if you guys are aware, like you just continue on, like you're gonna expand and stuff, but you don't acknowledge the people. So something gotta happen.
Okay. Your next question.
Okay, yeah, thanks.
How can you folks sleep at night knowing you're poisoning generations of local families? I think that's in line with the first
That
question.
that was more of like a rhetorical,
Yeah.
but there was a couple other questions, like the Leilani, I asked you when you're gonna allow USGS to monitor all the fissures that are gassing us 24/7, or
So-
when will you guys come monitor them?
So,
I think we explained that in our last meeting,
Yeah,
it's
but-
private property.
but see,
Nah,
US
everybody there wants you to.
Well, I know, but it's private property, you
That's-
gotta get landowner.
yeah,
You
but
guys say you're gonna come to private property to monitor when people complain.
here's
No
what we
one
also
has.
said. USGS, we've allowed USGS to go in and take samples.
And
Well,
the
they
fissures-
act like
the
it
fissures
doesn't
aren't
exist, they
on
don't
our-
even acknowledge
on our
any of
property.
them. The cover-up is so royal of this, they don't even acknowledge those fissures.
Okay.
But if it stinks at the park, they don't let people come and look at Pele and Hale Mau Mau, because it's smelly. But those are in our backyards in Leilani.
I would agree to that though, right? You're saying you're concerned about the fishes, right?
I'm concerned about my
100%.
community, the
100%, I would
humans.
agree
No.
that some monitoring on those fishes would be
Yes,
good. I would
thank
love to if I get access to the private property, but.
You have access, come on, you have access, stop lying, Brad.
It's
You
not
have
on PVP
access.
property.
We'll have better access.
20 feet.
You guys got your road in 1 second, we're still waiting for a road.
USGS.
No, but
We
what-
would die, Mike, if something happens, you realize that, yeah, we would die. There's hundreds down there that would die trying to go all the way to Kalapana and up because Kilauea Recovery won't give us our road.
Well, you should have been here earlier.
Just updated when you came late.
Yeah, finally
She gave a
it's
good
doing it,
update.
but that means, that means nothing.
January.
When we see it, we'll
We're
believe
breaking
it.
down.
It means nothing, we just spent the past 2 years working so closely with FEMA to try to get this road.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it really does.
Here's
With
the
this
great news that I'm
community,
so excited to tell
only
you is that we'll
actions.
be breaking ground Q1 of next year.
Yes, that's
And
great
we're
I
news.
saw that, yeah, it's goodness. When it happens, we will celebrate.
Fantastic,
But
I look
not
forward to
now.
that moment with you.
I'll celebrate too.
Can't wait.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Little party.
I know it's getting late, and I don't know if you guys had brought this up, but have you looked into other blended thermal energy conversion systems? Like, for instance, the open versus like yours, don't close, using geothermal as the closed unit. I don't know if you're still injecting into the well
Yes.
to get your pressure. Have you thought about, like, the open cycle uses just water and sets it up in a vacuum chamber so that the boiling point will be lowered, using the geothermal to heat that, and then use that steam and compression to run your turbines,
Yeah.
and blend it between the
Right.
geothermal and the open cycles?
We aren't we aren't able to have open systems because of the.
No, open meaning that will use like water.
It's
Water will boil at 212, but if it's in a vacuum chamber, it'll boil at 100. You can get the geothermal temperature 100 plus to be able to boil that water. It's just water, and that's what they call it, open. And then it dumps it to run the turbine, and then you've got your power.
Yeah, so we bypass that open system you're describing, and we just use the heat from the earth to turn the turbines.
Right, but right now you're using some kind of injected.
We don't inject nothing.
You don't, except for water or.
But what we inject is what comes up. So what comes up is hot water and steam. We use the heat content to generate electricity. The cooler geothermal fluids is what's re-injected to it differently.
Has there been changes to the actual chemical breakdown of the steam that your turbines can handle? As far as, I remember when my father-in-law was working and they were just putting in the turbines and everything, they found that the steam and the chemical reactions to the turbine blades were getting eroded away quicker.
Oh, we still get that.
You got to stick to.
Yeah, but yeah, that still occurs.
Okay.
Mike,
Yes,
and
John.
may I please ask, why is it that you state you folks inject nothing when there's caustic sodas, there's pentane, all this is involved in what you do?
Okay. What we inject is what comes up. Okay?
Okay.
In addition, to address corrosion, erosion, and piping failures, we add oxygen scavenger, we add caustic soda for pH modification. So we do add, in the scheme, what did I say, well, how many gallons a day we said, Paul? 4 million gallons a day. We add, lucky if it's 100 gallons of this additive.
Okay, so to say we don't inject anything is not accurate, correct?
No, we
There
do
is
inject.
some injecting.
Or you inject everything that comes up.
Yeah, well, you just said we don't inject anything, so I just want to make sure.
So I think
And
the
whatever the
gentleman,
chemicals are that are making us sick.
maybe, well, listen, let's clarify this. Were you saying we inject so that the thing can get hot and come back up?
No.
What were you saying?
When I came before,
Yeah.
there was a big PGP protest and everything because there was a complaining of a certain chemicals being pressed in or
Okay.
injected into the hot areas
Yeah.
so that it would accelerate the steam collection.
Oh, yeah, we don't,
Aside of everything
okay,
else,
I understand. better.
going into aquifers, whatever else is down there.
So
Eventually,
I got it.
that's what they were talking
We
about
do
last
not,
time.
we do not inject any additive to get more steam and whatnot. We just, the additives we use is to prevent corrosion.
Yeah, I know, I was just.
Artist.
You know it.
Stand in front of the camera before you leave.
You're starting a collection of those pictures, huh? You never sent me the last one.
Glad to see you and Mom were here.
Mm-hmm.
So, anything else, anybody? How's it, what you guys got planned for Thanksgiving?
hopefully not being
Yeah.
sick in front of you
Not
guys.
being asked.
Fucking A,
All right.
like seriously, fuck, I'm sorry.
No, we truly wish everybody a truly safe and happy holiday season, honestly, from our hearts.
When you're reworking those other injection wells, which ones are they?
We're looking at doing maybe KS-21,
Oh,
and it would be probably changing the liner or something like that is what we're looking at doing.
because the liner's got a crack in it or something.
We do have, it's a new well, but we do have nitrogen. So what we do to protect the water table is we have a double wall, right?
Yep.
And we have anhydrous, which is nitrogen, high pressure nitrogen. And so we're leaking off nitrogen. And so to prevent that, we're looking at changing that out.
Right, right.
There was one question you didn't read of mine.
Okay, which one is
The
that?
well, the 13, the magma
Oh,
breach one.
read it for us then.
You have it, I don't have it. But
Oh.
it was about regarding the breach of the 2005, you know, that KS-13 well,
Yeah.
and how the EIS states it's just a well in service. It says
Okay.
nothing about it being uncappable, nothing about it hitting lava and covering it up for 3 years until
Yeah,
San
so,
Francisco reported on it. How is that just a normal active in-service well when it's a live active magma well, or like a magma under there?
so there's magma under
I
every well.
understand that, but you guys breached it for the first time in human history, yeah.
I
And
think
you
they
can't
did it
cap it supposedly.
In Hawaii history, yeah, the first
Yeah.
time.
So how is that just like, you leave that all out in the EIS, it just says that's an active well, isn't that dangerous?
No, the well actually kept itself off and the magma that came up solidified.
This time?
Yeah, well, it's in service, we've been using it.
Yeah, because you can't cap it, the heat of the sun.
We can cap it, but we can cap it, but we want to use it as part of the
Okay. But
power plant.
supposedly you could cap it, if that was the heat of the sun, they were saying. Okay.
We can cap it if we want to.
The heat of the sun, what do you guys use to cap that? That doesn't melt.
Sand.
Like live magma?
No.
Yes, that's hot. Yeah.
Listen, it's called plug and abandon program. You can look it up with DLNR. Larry probably knows it.
Ah, okay.
Look, there's a blessing.
Amen.
Thank you guys.
How about Ben's questions?
Ben's questions is highly technical, and if you read the email, I told him I'd get back to him
Perfect.
after we talk to our geologists and engineers. You'll be on the CC, guaranteed, Larry. Thank you guys for coming. Oh, yes.
Yeah, so you were kind of talking a little bit, I don't know how to phrase this question, but you were kind of talking about how this geothermal plant loses so much power, and then you get regulated and it helps go cut you back or whatever, but if this plant wasn't here, what else do they use? Is it
Well,
oil? Yeah.
Well, they have big solar plants now on the Kona side, but they make,
But if the sun goes down.
Helco makes more money by shipping the power that's made here over to the hotels because they get a guaranteed profit on the line loss. So the further they ship it, the more power they lose, and they get guaranteed profit.
Mm-hmm. And the more we're sick.
How does that work?
The more we're
So
sick, the more money they make.
Yeah, utility likes, they like shipping it over there.
But when we were down, we had a lot
Over
of
there.
Over in Kona, the Kona side is where all the hotels and all the
Right.
engines are, right? We don't need the power that Puna's producing here. We have more power than we need in Puna. They have lots of power plants here.
that's not what Helco said.
Well,
Helco says they need us.
Well, Helco, of
For the
course,
island.
they need you.
For the island.
They need you, so
Yes,
it's
we had
making
quite a
sure
few
the power to the
blackouts
other side of the island.
but kind of share more info, like before the eruption, the power that we produced for PGB represented 31% of all the energy on the island. So,
And then when it was down, did they burn oil to make up for
Had to
that?
burn up more oil, and they had other solar and wind projects that they already had in place, but yes, the majority of the replacement cost is oil.
But they've since brought on a lot more solar. You saw that big plant down on White
Yeah.
Okay,
I have one more question, I thought
Yes.
about it when I was in the bathroom. You were saying that you take care of and keep all your people safe at the place. Do they
safety
wear
is number
masks?
one.
Do they wear masks and they have garb to wear?
We have
to
all
keep
the
them safe?
protective equipment needed to run the facility.
We don't
We don't.
Yeah.
We
everybody. Happy Thanksgiving, happy holidays. We'll see you guys in January.